The Cockatrice Boys by Joan Aiken, Chapter 9. Daylight of a sort had returned to the cottage when Sana next woke. The storm still raged outside. She could see a gray swirl of snow past the window. When she opened the door, snowflakes slashed at her like razor blades. She flinched back inside again and shut the door. The fire glowed faintly. With blue fingers, she piled on more lumps of peat, then for the first time forced herself to look around the small, frosty room. The floor of beaten earth was piled several inches deep with layers of newspaper, yellow and crinkled with age, and dirt. The last date was 10 years back, when Mum and Dad were still alive, thought Sana sadly. Then she compelled herself to look at the narrow cot bed, which stood up by the wall opposite the entrance door. Something lay on it, covered and wrapped in thin, moth-eaten gray blankets. Stiff with dirt, something faintly moved. Sana could see just the weak flickering rise and fall of breath. Holding her own breath, battling against violent repugnance, she tiptoed over and stared at what lay there. It seemed more like a skeleton than a human being. Sparse yellow hair spread thinly over the bony scalp. The face was skin stretched tight over bone, grayish skin, speckled and blotched and wrinkled and scabbed. More like something you'd find out of doors than a person, thought Sana. Fungus, a rotten log, a withered cabbage leaf. The eye sockets were sunken in shrunken knotholes like tree bark. The hands lying loose on the pillow were gnarled like roots. Don't wake, please don't wake, thought Sana. She crept away from the bed, still holding her breath, although the howl of the wind outside drowned any noise made inside the house, save the buzz of several large blue-bottle flies, which slammed angrily from side to side up under the ceiling. What I need, thought Sana rather helplessly, is a pot, something to heat water in. She tiptoed into the back room. It was divided from the front by a short passage, only half a dozen steps long. In the middle of this, a ladder fastened to the wall led up to a square opening, presumably giving on to a loft. Sana might have thought she was now immune to shocks, but the back room startled her so much that she had to lean against the doorframe to get her breath, for apart from a dresser along the opposite wall, the room was a faithful replica of her aunt's front parlor in the flat in Manchester. Here was the table with its discolored lace cloth, here the red velour-covered chairs, the television set, the tiled fireplace with a paper fan and in a jam jar, the potted palm, and covering every horizontal surface, the myriads of little china mugs and vases, each with its message. A present from Southsea, a present from Westcliff, a present from Hove, a present from Margate, a present from St. Leonard's-on-Sea. The sight of the back room was so staggering that Sana had to lean against the wall till her legs recovered their strength. She stared at what she saw for a long minute, almost stupefied with disbelief. They can't be here. They just can't. How can they? Then is that Aunt Florence after all? If not, who else can it be? Noting an old enamel milk pan and a battered spoon and fork on the dresser, she mechanically picked up these articles and returned to the front room. There she had her second shock in 5 minutes. Quite as bad as the first one, for the figure on the bed was now sitting bolt upright, grinning at her with eyes turned to slits. "Getting settled in, that's right," remarked the high, lilting voice. "Make a little porridge, why don't you?" "Aye, parritch, a good Scots dish," and the creature giggled, showing 2 rows of yellow artificial teeth. "Are you Aunt Florence? Who else should I be, dearie? Or else I'll do till the next one comes along," another giggle. "But I told you, I am the Queen of Air and Darkness. All the powers of the air are my friends. Astarte, Abiron, Asmodeus, Belial, Bactanus, Baal, Shemosh, Dasin, Elbis, Musboot, Zolbazan, all my friends, and this one too." She gave a twitch of her blankets, and to Sana's horror, a gray head poked out from under them. That of a large, flea-bitten, seedy-looking rat, which peered watchfully at Sana, showed its teeth, then let out a shrill, thin, hostile sound between a hiss and a squeak. "Oh no!" Sana clutched her pan by the handle, raised it up instinctively. She detested rats, but the voice from the bed halted her. Don't you go for to bash him, dearie. He's my friend. He won't hurt you if you don't hurt him. That is, not unless I tell him. Aunt Florence grinned again, slit-eyed. We find our friends where we can, eh? Don't we, my Bubsy, my Muchkin, my precious little pigs and I? My precious little piggus and I? Where we can. Later on, you can see my other friends. Yes, later on they'll be back. Now you make that porridge, why don't you? We must keep strong. Yes, keep strong, and Ratto here would be glad of a nunchin. And we will pause there.